Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So we're going to start another Napoleonic battle report here. Now I'm trying to get this done before most of the club get here and start shouting at their kids and stuff like that. So we've got a bit of peace and quiet. So the battlefield, you're going to have the British on the left as we look at it, and the French attacking from the right. This is going to be a beginner game because I'm teaching a new member of our club how to play Black Powder. He's bringing down his French collection. I'm not sure what he's got, so we'll see what happens when he arrives. So here is the army of my French opponent. He's got 6 battalions of infantry, 2 regiments of cavalry, he's got some hussars and some scary cuirassiers, and he's got 2 batteries of guns there as well. So that's the French army. We divided them into 2 brigades. Because this is a beginner game, I wanted to get the most out of the command and control mechanic, really. So that's the French. I've modified the battlefield a little bit from the earlier video. You can see we've got a river and a nice road there, so that's very good. So I will quickly show you the British. Okay, so here are the British. So similarly to the French, I've arranged them in 3 brigades of 2 battalions each. We've got the Highlanders at the back there. They are fighting alongside the other units there. They're the, I always forget who they are. They are the Inniskillings, and then in front of them we've got the Dirty Half Hundred, and behind them the Green Howards, and then we've got the 33rd, and my favourite, my old regiment, the Kings. Each one of those has got a tiny unit of riflemen attached to it. Then in reserve we're going to have 2 regiments of light cavalry. We're going to have some hussars and some light dragoons. So that's the British. So let's see how deployment looks. So welcome to another battle report. This is our deployment. It's set in the peninsula, and we have a column of British infantry moving forward to capture this village, which is held by the dastardly French. On the right of the British position, we've got that artillery's already there. We've got another column advancing, and then we've got their cavalry reserve. There's going to be a reserve of French cavalry coming on, and there seems to be some massed columns here between the hill and the village. And it looks like they're going to be bringing the fight to the British. So that's our deployment. Let's see how it goes turn 1. Okay, so welcome to another battle report. This is going to be a starter game set in the peninsula. We've got some British infantry, and we've got opposite them a French infantry division, a small French infantry division, and a much scarier French cavalry division. So for the British, on the right hand flank, we've got 3 battalions in this brigade. We've got the Green Howards at the front there. Behind them we've got the West Kents, the Dirty Half Hundred, and next to them we've got the Connaught Rangers. So that's going to be 1 brigade of mine, and then the 2nd brigade of mine is going to be the King's Regiment. It's going to be the Argyll and the Southern Highlanders. Then on the other side of the river we've got the 33rd of Foot. Opposite them we've got, just coming through that Spanish village there, we've got 3 battalions of French infantry and a cheeky cannon hidden there. Yeah, I'm just seeing that one. And then over here we've got 2 more infantry battalions. Now the French are running 3 brigades of 2 battalions, in contrast to the British 2 brigades of 3 battalions. Basically I just wanted to show how those different battalion sizes work. Then right over here on the left hand flank we've got a cavalry brigade. Oh, that's the wrong zoom. We've got some hussars and some cuirassiers on the end there, so I'm not looking forward to having to fight them. I do have 2 regiments of light cavalry in reserve, a regiment of dragoons and hussars, so we'll see if we need them and how the battle goes. So that's the dispositions at the end of deployment. Let's see how it goes at the end of turn 1. The French surged forward in the centre there, their cavalry biding their time on the flank. The British fired at that central column there. They used their artillery to hit them for 1 damage, and then the rifles, which advanced to the river over there, used their 2 dice for being a tiny unit, plus 1 for their first fire, to cause 3 casualties, including a disorder. Fortunately, the French managed to save most of them, but that central column has now taken 2 casualties and is disordered for the following turn. So it's not looking good for them. Can the French commander use their 2nd brigade to help them out? Let's find out. So at the end of turn 2 there, the Green Howards rushed forward, and they were supposed to be supported by the West Kents, but I rolled an 11 for their command, so that didn't work out very well. The Connaught Rangers formed line, because they were being fired at by that cannon over there, which really did upset them, but they managed to escape unscathed. And over on the left, absolutely nothing happened, except for the cannon firing once again at that column, and inflicting the 3rd point of stamina damage. So that column is now shaken, and can no longer advance towards the British. So that's quite a good result for them. But the French generals may be able to rally them. Let's see how it goes in the next turn. I should also mention perhaps that over here on the British right, the French left, the cavalry have jockeyed for position, and the Cuirassiers are now in front of the Hussars, and it may end very, very poorly for the Green Howards. Let's find out next turn. So on the British right flank, an absolutely phenomenal charge from the French Cuirassiers, smashed straight through the Green Howards, and luckily the supporting rifles were defeated in combat but managed to escape, and that meant that the Cuirassiers couldn't follow up into the flank of the Connaught Rangers. That allowed in the British turn the 50th West Kents to advance 1 move using their first fire volley bonus, smash into the Cuirassiers, shaking them, meaning that they can't charge this turn. On the British left, General Hill, tired of being an observer of the French attack, ordered the Scottish and King's Regiment to attack. They poured their fire into the central column, which had recently been rallied by Napoleon himself. I was really trying to get them over their stamina, so they'd have to take a morale test, in the hope that they'd run away carrying the monster with them. But unfortunately for me, Nathan actually managed to pass a saving throw this turn, despite 8 shots from the 2 battalions, because they haven't fired yet, resulting in 7 hits. And we're saying that both light companies have been deployed. So I was hitting on 4s. It was pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. They are disordered, but he's got a bit of an order mixed thing going on here. So I'm not really sure how that's going to go for the British next turn. He might be able to put together a solid attack. Overall, though, so far in the battle, I'd say it's going very strong for the British on the left, and well, I think not strong would be probably the best description of how it's going on the right. My light cavalry brigade may well be called upon. I roll to see if I can start rolling for the next turn, and I can't, so hopefully they're going to arrive before it's too late. But let's find out as we go into turn 4. Well, a turn of pretty strong success for the British there. They managed to defeat the French on their right by winning the combat by 1, which was a bit embarrassing for both sides, to be honest. But the French rolled very poorly and moved back 2 moves away from the combat. And using their reform from combat, I decided to form square because there's 2 very scary looking French cavalry regiments there. In the centre, the King O's decided to charge the enemy column. Sorry, no, they didn't. They followed up a charge from the French infantry. Now, having defeated them in the French turn, they routed them in their own turn. It was kind of roundabout there. That's the column that fell back from fighting the West Kents. It was about there, and then they fell back in line with the Argyll and Southern Highlanders. So they're facing off against this French brigade here. The King O's are a bit worse for wear. I think the French are probably a little bit more worse for wear, but let's see how it goes. I'm just about to roll to see if my light cavalry are available from next turn. On a 5+ they are. That is amazingly jumped on top of the other dice, but it is still a 1, unfortunately, so they're absolutely not available for next turn. So let's see how it goes on turn 5. Has run out of battery because someone didn't charge it yesterday. Yeah, that would be me. So I'm switching to my phone, so if you can see a change in quality, well, yeah, as if there's a quality on this channel. But there you go. If it's even lower quality than normal, that's why. So not really a great deal happened in that turn. The British occupied the village and that building specifically. The square is still in its squarey glory. And over here, the 2 lines blazed away at each other, and despite an absolutely amazing roll of shooting from the Scots, rolling a 6 and 2 5s, Unfortunately, because they're disordered, and we're assuming that the French have got their light companies deployed, that only results in 1 hit. But that was a disorder, so it works out quite nicely. So not a great deal happening in that turn. So let's hope that next turn something good happens. I didn't even manage to roll a dice and balance it on top of another dice at the end of this turn, but still my cavalry haven't arrived. Fortunately for the French, though, an infantry battalion has been spotted coming up the road towards the village at the back there, so they're about to receive some reinforcements. So that's the end of that turn. I'm going to move on to turn 6. Well, a storm of fire drove the Krasiers back from the village. They actually took an excess casualty, but they managed to pass their morale check. Boo! The Kings, who were in square, got absolutely flayed by these battalions here, including the new arrivals, who obviously got their first fire bonus. Luckily, they managed to roll a 9, which was the minimum roll required to not explode. And because they were in square, that means that they don't fall back. So that was very, very lucky there. Over here on the left, the 33rd of Foot have still not fired. They're holding their first fire bonus for when that column charges them, perhaps this turn. Over here on the right, the square of the West Kents fired 2 shots at the Hussars through the trees. We said that they were in cover there. Luckily for the West Kents, they rolled a double 6, so it didn't actually matter. Those Hussars, I think we may have seen the end of them. And most importantly of all, hooray, at last, the Hussars! And the Light Dragoons will be turning up for the British. So hopefully we'll be seeing them next turn. But let's see what they can do, because my record of the British cavalry, as I'm sure regular viewers will know, is not good. So that's the end of turn 6. So the French Marshal here, I'm going to move him back with his Krasier bodyguard. There we go. It's looking not quite as good for the British as it was the turn before, I don't think. But let's see how it goes. So that's the end of turn 6. Let's see how it goes for turn 7, which I think may either be the last turn or the second to last turn. We'll see how it goes on this one. Oh, and another quick one, I thought I'd pause the video there, but I didn't, is that the French assaulted the building, and it was a bit of a slap fest, and they both just forced each other back. So that's the end of that turn. Let's see how it goes for the next penultimate. So a consolidation of the battle lines there. The Krasiers, having been forced back out of the village, fell back, and that creates the end of a reasonably strong French line there. I don't feel that my British can really assault that successfully, so General Hill ordered his Highlanders to fall back in line with the cannon. The square, unfortunately, was disordered, so they had to stay where they were. The Connaught Rangers have fought well in keeping the building there, and this French battalion is not going anywhere too concerning. The right flank, the West Kents, came out of their square and advanced towards the enemy, and the reason they were able to do that is because the Hussars fell back using the new Black Powder 2nd edition special rule that allows a disordered cavalry unit to fall back. However, they're hotly pursued by 2 British light cavalry regiments. So I think the tide is turning. I think maybe the British cavalry might be the decisive factor, but I reckon this is probably going to be the last turn, turn 8, so we'll see how it goes here. If it's still on the knife edge after this, I think we'll probably have time for a cheeky last turn, but let's see how it goes. So a consolidation of the battle lines there. The Krasiers, having been forced back out of the village, fell back, and that creates the end of a reasonably strong French line there. I don't feel that my British can really assault that successfully, so General Hill ordered his Highlanders to fall back in line with the cannon. The square, unfortunately, was disordered, so they had to stay where they were. The Connaught Rangers have fought well in keeping the building there, and this French battalion is not going anywhere too concerning. The right flank, the West Kents, came out of their square and advanced towards the enemy, and the reason they were able to do that is because the Hussars fell back using the new Black Powder 2nd edition special rule that allows a disordered cavalry unit to fall back. However, they're hotly pursued by 2 British light cavalry regiments. So I think the tide is turning. I think maybe the British cavalry might be the decisive factor, but I reckon this is probably going to be the last turn, turn 8, so we'll see how it goes here. If it's still on the knife edge after this, I think we'll probably have time for a cheeky last turn. But let's see how it goes. That's the end of the game. The British Hussars, I was going to say heavy dragoons, not heavy dragoons, Hussars, charged into the rear of the French Hussars, destroyed them. The Krasiers, who were supporting them, rolled a 4 for their morale test, and they broke as well, which, to be honest, they were going to have some very angry Hussars in the flank of them anyway, so I'd have probably done a runner as well, and that would have allowed the Hussars to go into the flank of the infantry battalion there. I don't think we're going to roll for that one, we don't have time, it's getting a bit late here today, but I think with that we can say that the British have held the field, and the French have been defeated, although I don't think it's a huge victory for the British. I think the French could retire to that village there, and maybe put up a stoic defence, so I think the British will probably retire from the field having held it successfully. So I'd say a minor British victory there. But it was a good game. The French really did. I thought they were beaten by turn 2, but they really held on and it made it into a very close contest. Around about turn 5, turn 6, when that fresh infantry battalion turned up, things were looking very dicey for the British there. But overall, a great game. Thank you to Nathan for being a fantastic opponent. And with his lovely army, which is actually his dad's army, but it's a very nice army either way. And I hope next time we'll bring you another battle. But stay tuned, because the next video I think I'm going to be doing on the channel is going to be about some potential changes to black powder that I'm going to experiment with. We didn't use them in this game, but I will reveal more in the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.